Hi everybody. I wanted to give you part one of a quick as possible tour to this fabulous app, DoINK. So when you open up your iOS device, you click on DoINK and usually this screen pops up. In the upper left corner, you might have to hit this back button to get where you need to go. This is already in a project, so let's click back and then you will see all of your projects. In the upper right corner, you will see the plus sign. And here you click Create New Project. Now, there's lots of tools and we'll get into them a lot more in depth in a second part of this. But for now, I want you to see the basics. So in the far left, you have an X. This X, I stay away from it because it does clear out your whole project and you might hit it by accident. So it is really useful when you do need to clear it quickly and not have to cut and paste everything. But I usually don't use it. These two, you will use a lot. Back and forward, especially if you make a mistake. I use the back button so much. This is the timing of your video, and that comes, or your picture, that comes in play during video streaming because of where you place things. And you'll get more into that later, but make sure that if you're starting a video or creating one, make sure it's at 0 so you don't have any extra footage in the front. This play button is really great for previewing what you're doing to make sure the timing's right. And save, we will get into this in a minute, but it's important to understand that, and so on. So let's start by starting with the bottom row here, the plus side. This is the background. This is the one you don't see through. And I always tell the students that make sure that you can't see through it, but also put your stuff in the favorites file in the camera roll because it is hard to find sometimes in DoINK. So I always make it a favorite or make a separate folder just for my footage. So we have a camera, live camera. We will do that in part 2. Video, image, and DoINK we will do in part 2 as well. So we're going to look at video and image today. So I'm going to click on image, and under image, I'm going to choose a picture for the background. And I have placed it under favorites so it's easier to find. This is really helpful advice. So we're going to go to Gillette Stadium today. Go Pats. So I'm going to click use and have that as my background. And what's neat is you can adjust this background just like on an iPhone, larger, smaller, if you want to zoom it in, things like that. A lot of times too, in the camera roll, I'll brighten it up before I even bring it in here. Okay, on the second row, the second plus sign, I'm going to put somebody on the field. I bet you can guess who. Under image, under favorites, and who is our favorite? Mr. Tom Brady. And I have a transparent picture here, and we're going to talk about that soon. But it's really nice because you don't have to worry about the green or readjusting things. So I'm going to click use just to show you the app a little bit more. We'll get into the green screen more later in the lighting. So with Tom, if you click on Tom's row, you'll see that it turns red. And then click on the bottom row, the field at Gillette, you'll see it turns red. So we're going to go back up to Tom, and I'm going to adjust him just like you would in an iPhone. Just move him where he needs to go. Okay. Now, if we were to bring somebody else on the field for the top row, let's just give this a try to show you. Under favorites, let's say I want to bring in my student. Now, as you can see, there's some real world in here. I call this the real world. But what's so great about this app is you are able to get rid of that. So I'm going to click use and shrink him down a little bit. And as you see, there's real world there. So that's where the crop tool comes in. What a fabulous tool. So I'm going to click on the crop tool, and using the corners with the little yellow markers, you're going to crop him out a little bit. Now this isn't a great example because we put him in front of something that's not even a green screen just to get a headshot, but I wanted to show you the crop tool. And then you click done. And we can move him about. Now, I'm not going to use him for this picture, but I wanted to show you the crop tool. So I'm going to click on him, and at the bottom row here, these are awesome. I use these first two. Actually, I use all of them all the time. So I'm going to click cut because we have somebody better to bring in. So now, since Tom is a transparent picture, this tool won't be as useful that I'm going to show you, but it is important to know where it is. The chroma key tool. This is great for your sensitivity. You slide it up and down, and if you had some green around him, you would understand why. But we'll get more into that later, just letting you know where it is. Also, the mask tool, my favorite tool. It's like having Photoshop at your fingertips. This is why this is the best app on the planet for green screen. So I'm going to click on the mask tool to show you. Now, we'll come back to this later and get in more depth, but right now I'm just going to click done and bring you back to the basics. Okay, so from there we have Tom on the field, but I'm going to bring in somebody else. I want to click the plus sign for the top row and bring in a video. And once again, I put it in the favorites so I could find it. Now, this is the one I want to bring in. It's my friend, the dinosaur. Now, right now, the dinosaur's walking in front of Tom. So what's cool about this is you can rearrange this situation. So I'm going to click on Tom and click cut. Click on the top row and click paste all down here. So Tom is there, but behind him in a video, we're going to bring somebody he probably doesn't want to see and click use. Now you can slide this whole project down to see how this works, or you can click play. So if I click play, this is what it looks like right now. Oh my. Okay, so I think if we slide down, the dinosaur should be bigger. So I'm going to adjust him and make sure it's red around the dinosaur, otherwise you will move the wrong person. But that's why the back button and the forward button are fabulous in case you do have the wrong row selected, which will happen often, as this is so fun and it happens. Anyway, so I have my dinosaur, and with this video, new dinosaurs start to come in, so I need to get rid of the rest of those. So with this middle row, this is where trim is phenomenal. I'm going to click trim. So now we just have that one guy. But let's say we want him to happen later in the situation here in the project. So there's a couple ways you can do it. You can slide it down manually with your hand, but sometimes you'll end up cutting off the top and back. But that is something you can do with these clips, is to chop them off on the front or the back, actually. Or you can click on it and click cut, bring it to the part of the video you want it to be in, and click paste. So now if I go to the play button, which is right here, and play this back, you will see that he comes in a little bit later in my little show. Okay, so that's the basics of DoINK. So let me show you quickly how to save this whole thing. It's very important that you pay attention to these two words right here. It automatically is on video every time you open the program. This is a video program first before it is picture. So, but you do have to toggle it. My students all the time save them as videos. So sometimes I'll actually toggle it to image before I begin, if I know I'm working with an image. But in this situation, we have a dinosaur, so it is a video. Now, back to the timeline. This dinosaur ends here. I might not want this to go on too much longer, so I'm going to click on Tom and click trim, and click on Gillette Stadium and click trim to where you want the videos to end. Now, if you want the dinosaur, you want them to end right after the dinosaur, you could do the same thing here. You can go to the end of the dinosaur, it will stop your cursor, and you can click trim and trim. Now you are ready to save your video. So before we even do that, upper right corner, you'll see some help sign. They're wonderful at getting back with help if you ever need it, and settings. So I'm going to click on the settings to show you. You have some video resolution decisions you can make here. Camera position, that's for when we use the camera later, and locking your project. I only lock my project when I share an iPad with my students, but not often. But it's, if you have other people using your iPad, sometimes it's nice to lock it so it's ready to go. Okay, and nobody messes with it. So I'm going to toggle to video, which it already is, and click the word save. And as you'll see, it says exporting your project down here at the bottom. And then you have some choices. Save to camera roll, show export options, preview. I click preview sometimes before I save it to camera roll because there's always something I want to go back and adjust. You'll figure that part out. But show the export options. If you click on that, you have several export options. Okay? But also, save to camera roll is probably the one you'll choose. So I'm going to click done, and you have discard this video now, so that's when you can go back and fix it. Show export options and save to camera roll. It was saved successfully, and click done. Okay. If you back out of the project, up here, I'm going to show you just a couple things that are very important. And that is, you'll see all your projects here, but then you'll see this little marker here. If you click on this, you'll see delete, which is common sense, duplicate, which I do quite a bit. Sometimes if you want to mess around with a project and see if something else works and you don't want to have to go back, but export. Now this export button is to export it as a project. It is a DoINK-GS green screen project that can only be opened in DoINK. This is not, I repeat, not how you save or export your projects out of this program. This is just so you can share this project with a different iPad or iOS device at a later time, which I do use sometimes, but honestly, that's a big mistake a lot of people make, and they get really frustrated. So I hope that you understand that you have to save with inside this app where it says save image or video, and you can export from there. And also, if you back out of this project, you'll see another settings bar up here, and this allows you to change the resolution again, the camera, but also the video format if you want it to be a .mov or .mp4. And we'll get more into the rest of all of this later. But that is your basic overview of the DoINK app. I hope you enjoyed it. Have some fun.